Welcome to this year's Compliance Refresher. I wanted to bring this training to you in a different way, so be sure to pay attention while enjoying some animation. My name is Rakisha Blake. I am the Compliance Officer and your trainer for this training. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me on the forum of this training or by using the contact information shown on Easterseals University. You're probably thinking, another year, another compliance refresher. What is the point? Why do we constantly talk about compliance and the do's and don'ts of it all? To be honest, before I started at Easterseals Florida, I knew very little about compliance and what it meant. I knew enough about it to pass the required tests during trainings at my previous job, like the ones you take every year, but I didn't try to learn more than that. When Gladys asked me on my interview if I was familiar with compliance, of course I had to play it cool. I was on an interview. I didn't know much, but I was confident that I could learn what I needed to. Once I was hired, I started my journey of all things compliance. I studied, attended trainings, and truly delved into the information to gain a better understanding. I was then able to apply to everything I did in work and in life. I found that if I treated the information in my care as if it were my own information, I would take special care to ensure that it doesn't get into the wrong hands. So that is what I'm encouraging you to do. During this training, pretend that the information that needs to be protected is your own personal information. How important would it be for you to keep it out of the wrong hands? This training will briefly go over HIPAA, red flag rules, and PCI compliance and refresh your memory of things you need to protect. Then we will review how you can protect them. We will also be discussing sunshine laws. Since many of our contracts require our compliance with these laws, we want you to understand your role with regards to these regulations. Now, I'm sure many of you watching this training have seen this acronym, HIPAA, H-I-P-A-A, and the first thing that should pop into your head is health information. But what should also pop into your head is the reason that we protect this information. We are required to protect the client names, date of birth, addresses, which will be their email, physical, and mailing address, medical notes, treatment and billing information such as case notes and attendance logs, and insurance information, which includes group numbers, Medicaid numbers, subscriber ID numbers, etc. We must make sure that we're not allowing this information to get in the hands of someone who is not authorized. So who is considered authorized? Clients and their legal guardians, anyone the client or guardian authorizes in writing, staff involved in the client's plan of care, medical billing staff, health and human services for audits, and court-ordered subpoenas requesting medical records. So how do we make sure that only authorized persons have access to this protected information? Well, one way is by securing the information that we have to use each day at work. Do not leave items on your desk, on the fax machine, or in your mailbox when you leave for the day. Make sure that you lock up anything that contains protected health information. We do not want to be responsible for someone unauthorized accidentally seeing that information. If you need to dispose of something with protected information on it, do not toss it in the trash or a recycling bin. Make sure that you shred anything containing PHI, even if it is as small as a sticky note. What if you have to take protected information out of the office? Make sure to use a lockbox or a carrier that has a lock on it when transporting these items everywhere, like from the office to your home, on home visits, or to another office location. We also protect information by not allowing unauthorized individuals to hear the information. So don't speak in public areas where unauthorized persons can overhear what you are saying. If you want to share good news about a client, don't share any identifying information like their name or their diagnosis when telling someone unauthorized, or if you are in a public area. And only discuss a client situation with staff that are a part of the client's plan of care. To protect electronically, we do not share client information or photos on our own personal social media platforms, in unsecured emails, via text message, or on file sharing sites like Dropbox, OneDrive, and iCloud. However, if something is shared on one of Easterseals Florida's social media sites, we can share it with our family and friends. Feel free to repost and share the happenings of Easterseals as much as possible. So now, when I mention red flag rules and PCI compliance, what pops into your mind? Hopefully it is identity theft and credit card security. Imagine how angry and hurt you would feel if your identity was stolen, or if someone used your credit card information without your permission. Protecting the information of our clients, employees, donors, and volunteers should be just as important as protecting our own information. What information do we protect, you may ask? Social security numbers, credit card numbers, driver's license numbers, maiden names, birth dates, and billing address. Obviously, social security numbers and credit card numbers in the wrong hands can be detrimental, but a malicious person can actually use some of this other information just to find more. So how do we protect the information? Well, let's just think about social security numbers. This number should always be protected. If it gets into the wrong hands, it could change someone's life, and we don't want to be responsible for that. So what do? Well, think about every form that you use. Do any of them have social security numbers on them? Financial assistance forms do, new hire paperwork does, even intake forms. Do we make sure that we are locking them when we have to store them, shredding when we dispose of them, emailing securely, and redacting if we need to share with someone who does not need access to it? We also need to be alert to someone possibly trying to use false identification or information with us through falsifying paperwork or using someone else's credit card or checks when making payments. We do not want to assist someone in committing theft, so look for suspicious behavior and let the corporate compliance officer know immediately. Many of our contract agreements with government agencies require us to adhere to sunshine laws because a government agency is required to do so. And I'm sure many things pop into your head when I say sunshine laws. So what do I mean? Well, sunshine laws were put in place to require openness in government or business. The regulation makes meetings, records, votes, deliberations, and other official actions available for the public so they can actually observe, participate, or inspect. Easterseals Florida is required to make records available to the public when requested. This is not just client records. Someone can request things like demographic information, minutes from leadership meetings, salaries and expense reports of employees, personnel records, and many other things. So we need to answer all public records requests. How, you may ask? Well, these requests can come to you in many different ways. Someone could call, email, or stop by your location. They may not even say that it is a public records request. So anytime you receive a request for information from someone that's not authorized or not an employee or something like that, just send the request to me at headquarters. Other records requests that you could receive are medical records requests from different agencies, and at any time, client and guardians can and will request their own medical records. You would handle both of these the same way you do public records. Accept it and send it to me at headquarters. You will also receive subpoenas for records, which are a little more tricky because there are two kinds. On one, we are not a defendant, and the records are just being requested. On the other one, we are named as a defendant. If the subpoena is not versus Easterseals Florida, accept it and send it to me at headquarters. But if we are listed as a defendant, then do not accept the subpoena. It must be delivered to our registered agent. I know that was a lot of information for records requests, so to summarize, if it's for public records, medical records, or a client or guardian requesting their own records, send it to headquarters. Now, if it is a subpoena and we are not listed as a defendant, accept it and send it to headquarters. But if we are listed as a defendant, do not accept it. Please direct them to the registered agent. I know what you're thinking. We have so many regulations to follow. Today we covered HIPAA, red flag rules, PCI compliance, and sunshine laws. But let's be superheroes and protect the medical and financial information that we have been entrusted with for the safeguard of our clients, donors, volunteers, and employees. And remember, just treat the information as if it were your own. Thank you so much for attending this training today. I hope you've received the information needed to remain compliant with Easterseals Florida. To receive credit, please move on to the next exercise in Easterseals University and contact me if you have any questions. Goodbye.